Triplets born, the throne awaits. A CEO warns of a deadly fate. Give up your children, separate. Bide your time, lie in wait. Sonic Underground, Sonic Underground. They made a vow their mother will be found. With instruments, the children fight, all voiced by Jaleel White. The show was cancelled, no season 2. Out of time, if they only knew the prophecy would not come true. Sonic Underground, Sonic Underground.
I long for my children, but it's far too late. This show's reception wasn't great.
To look back now, their mother wasn't found. Sonic Underground! Look, all I'm saying is, if I had more patrons, I could afford a professional singer. Sonic Underground is an embarrassing goddamn mess of a show. I fucking love Sonic Underground. And yes, those statements can coexist. Sonic Underground is my guiltiest pleasure, and by sheer happenstance, it perfectly demonstrates the wildly fluctuating quality of the Sonic series overall. Sonic's earlier outings, while occasionally flawed, were critically acclaimed and fondly remembered, and people wanted more of them. They still do, in fact. But for this particular installment, they went out of their way to reimagine Sonic. They decided to innovate and retell his story in a weird fashion, drawing from ideas that were scrapped before the character even debuted, such as, I don't know, Sonic being in a rock band or having a human girlfriend. And the end result ended up being creatively confused, poorly executed, rushed and unfinished, full of visual errors, and god damn, it's so full of heart. I can't hate it. And in keeping with the comparisons to Sonic 06, it has an absolute banger of a theme song, despite being a complete flop in almost every other regard. Focusing more on Underground itself, this is another French animated show, with its original title being Sonic le Rebelle. I'm particularly aware of this because the first time I watched the show was on holiday in France, months before it aired in the UK. And once again, while Underground began in 1999, it barely survived past the year 2000, with only 40 episodes being produced and the story remaining completely unfinished. And unlike with SatAM, there was no third party to continue the story via another medium, it just straight up died. So for this video, I'll be checking out Underground's 3-part opening, which sets up the show's story, and my favourite episode, which introduces Knuckles. And no, I'm not bothering with the so-called finale, because in this case, it's actually just filler. Episode 1, Beginnings.
The evil Dr. Robotnik used his technology to turn our world into a place of terror.
As you can already see, this show tries to scratch the exact same itch as Sonic SatAM. It's a dystopian setting in which Robotnik has already won. However, there's a twist here.
The aristocrats were left to play, while our people were roboticized.
Yes indeed, adding on to Sonic's anti-authoritarian narrative, this show also introduces a theme of class divide, which it surprisingly does some interesting things with. Sonic isn't just blue in this show, he's blue-blooded. With Robotnik having placed a bounty on all of their heads, the dethroned Queen Aleena is forced to doorstep her 3 kids, Prince Sonic, Prince Manic, and Princess Sonia. However, while her intention was to give all 3 of her kids decent upbringings via different foster families, things went a bit pear-shaped. Sonic's foster parents were taken away by Robotnik, leaving him with his adoptive Uncle Chuck, who just happens to look like Sonic in this show. Manic is immediately kidnapped and raised by a gang of thieves, and Sonia actually got lucky and was left with the pampered life her mother intended for her. This immediately creates an interesting dynamic with the three leads, who end up representing their respective class backgrounds. A radicalized middle-class youth, a downtrodden but resourceful rogue, and a well-educated but mostly spoiled rich kid.
Now, if the Resistance uses their secret weapon, they'll be in for a big surprise!
Gary Chalk is such an adequate Robotnik. He's fine, I guess? Like, honestly, he's not bad, but after the legendary performances of Long John Baldry and Jim Bloody Cummings, this is such a flat take on the character. Robotnik should never feel generic. After disabling Robotnik's shield, Sonic is visited by the Oracle, who tipped off his mother in the first place.
How'd you do that? And who are you?
Wow, just getting loads of mileage out of Sonic's muzzle there. Just look at that mouth go. So this Oracle, who is kind of hot, but gross of body, flexes his credentials as a mystic by spawning in some of Sonic's favourite food, chili dogs. And goddamn, I hope that's vegan chili. In fact, that goes for all Sonic media that isn't set on Earth, because the idea of a sentient anthropomorphic cow being ground up for chili is a lot. While the Oracle begins to clue Sonic in about his royal history, Robotnik calls upon a pair of bounty hunters. It's time to talk about Sleet and Dingo. Many incarnations of Robotnik rely on a henchman or henchmen to bounce dialogue off of. Scratch, Grounder, Snively, Deco, Boko, Orbot, Cubot, the list goes on. But these two are the goddamn weirdest. Sleet on his own is an interesting character. He's a wolf bounty hunter, willing to work for an unabashedly evil client. Kinda like Wolf O'Donnell. And to look at his design, you'd expect him to have a gruff, menacing voice. But instead you get Maurice LaMarche's Peter Lorre impression, which is very impressive, but does raise my hackles in reflexive disgust every time he opens his mouth.
Oh yes, your most powerfulness. We are deeply flattered, but you see, sir, we are independent contractors.
Dingo, though? Oh, Dingo. To put it as bluntly as possible, Dingo feels like an Australian personification of DeviantArt furry kink. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I'm not one to shame people for enjoying such things, but A, look at him, and B... I have nothing more to say on this subject, and if I've awakened anything within you, congratulations. Glad to be of help.
You must sing the song that is in your heart, young hedgehog.
Oh boy, here it comes. Here it fucking comes.
Whoa, my medallion!
The medallion?
Let's finish this.
There's something missing. Something's not quite right.
Yeah, motherfuckers! I've gone all this time without mentioning that every Sonic Underground episode has a fucking musical number. And all of the music, aside from the intro theme, is deeply and profoundly embarrassing. My favourite thing about this is that Jaleel White does not perform Sonic's singing voice. That honour goes to Sam Vincent, the voice of Double D from Ed, Edd and Eddy, and now you will never unhear that. Also, the way some of these cheesy music videos are edited is so 1990s, it almost brings a tear to my eye. I'm talking Windows Movie Maker quality effects here. It is glorious. This is the best worst thing about Underground, and it's not even the first video game show from the late 90s to feature inexplicable musical numbers. I don't understand how or why this happened more than once.
Aha! It's not a machine.
Allow me to cross-reference with my extensive directory of asses.
Hedgehog?
How convenient is it that Sonic himself was the model for a typical hedgehog in this database? I guess it must have been a side gig.
One day, Queen Aleena and her 3 children will form the Council of 4. On that day, your reign of tyranny will end.
Well, why'd you tell Robotnik, you dick? They could have got the jump on him. Was Robotnik knowing about his prophesized undoing necessary to ensure that it would come true? All things considered, it bloody well better have been. Led by their magic amulets, the siblings meet up in a nightclub and rock out, forming the titular band. And, what are these patrons? This show mixes a few insectoid characters in with the standard furries, which honestly kind of rules, but these things look like aliens from Rick and Morty. Once Robotnik identifies the kids, their foster families are immediately taken away and roboticized, giving all 3 of them even more personal stake in overthrowing him. This brings us to the end of the first episode. Comic Sans, Comic Sans, Comic Sans, Comic Sans, Comic...
What are you doing, you oaf?
She's pretty.
Why don't you come on in and have a seat real quick?
Sorry, this is what you get.
Does it come in purple?
Hey man, why the speed?
You know what? I have to give Jaleel White props for not only voice acting conversations with himself, which is an utter pain in the ass to do, but for pulling off 3 distinct Sonic-esque voices. Robotnik's less cool-looking SWAT bots turn up with Sleet and Dingo to try apprehending the trio. Manic, lacking any of his brother's super speed, is immediately caught, forcing Sonic to bail him out. Meanwhile, Sonia outwits Dingo, who wastes absolutely no time in simping for her. And no, I couldn't find a better word to describe his creepy behaviour.
I'm afraid you will have to come along with me.
I couldn't find your coat, Sonia. Huh?
The kids quickly make tracks, with Sleet and Dingo in hot pursuits. After a while, though...
I am Gondar, sent by the Oracle of Delphius. I am here to train you.
So this large, tailless lion man trains the kids to help unlock their hidden talents. Sonic obviously gets his spin dash. Sonia gets a spin attack that is more akin to Crash Bandicoot's, and Manic... Well, Manic seemingly can't do much in terms of superpowers, but is encouraged by Gondar not to give up. By means of a magic scroll, the 3 are sent to a mystical sky kingdom to continue their training, where Orange Yoda here explains how they can tap into the power of their medallions.
But to use the power, you must find harmony among yourselves.
So for their introductory test, he magics the 3 kids into a chamber with a huge F-off monster, and understandably they are very quickly overwhelmed, to which he zaps them out and verbally eviscerates Sonic.
You have failed your first test. There will be no more training.
Oh, well, I guess Robotnik wins then. GG. EZ. In response to this, Manic and Sonia quickly defend their brother, who was just trying his best, and this causes Orange Yoda to make a hard 180.
Now, that is harmony.
Oh my god! What's wrong with your face?
Anyways, cue embarrassing musical number about harmony or something, and Comic Sans ending credits.
Young Manic, you were disappointed because the others had wonderful powers, while yours seemed small.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yours is the most powerful gift of all.
The power he's referring to here is drum-induced earthbending, which honestly is pretty dope, but comes with a high risk of collateral damage. The kid's training is interrupted, however, when Thelonious here has a vision of the Resistance being attacked.
You are not ready to leave.
Sorry, Big D. Gotta do it.
Thelonious zaps the three directly into Robotnik's lair, where just like in SatAM, the air ducts are free game. After revealing Sonic's friend Trevor being roboticized, the next chunk of this episode focuses on Trevor's rescue and escape by means of a stolen ship. This is the closest the show gets to feeling like a one-to-one retread of SatAM. But after botching their own escape, the siblings find themselves pinned in a snowy cave, where this happens.
The Oracle is in grave danger, and without him the Resistance will fall.
Look at him, with all of his books. Such danger. So after another music video, and that's all I can stomach of that, the gang finally use their musical instruments as weapons. Some people have guitars. Sonia has a key salt rifle. But obviously, as set up before, the MVP of this fight is Manic, who can use the surrounding terrain to fling stalagmites and stalactites directly at Robotnik's goons.
Robotnik couldn't have destroyed you.
But your children didn't know that.
Wow, haven't seen your kids in over 10 years, and the first thing you do is lie directly to their faces. Harsh. I know what you're all wondering though. The question that's been plaguing all of your minds since this video began. Where the hell is Tails? Well, he's not here. This is the only Sonic TV show where Tails makes no form of appearance. I guess having a close friend and a brother would be too much. Now, despite what I just said, let's meet Knuckles. Episode 16, Friend or Foe. Much like Sonic 3, this episode starts with our heroes landing on the floating island. Although in this case, it's for the sake of finding the Queen.
The floating island is fraught with danger. Beware the echidna.
His name is Knuckles, and he's in for a big Robotnik surprise.
So, within a matter of moments, Knuckles captures Sleet and Dingo, threatening to feed them to his pet dinosaur? Okay. And in keeping with Sonic 3, the villains dupe Knuckles into thinking Sonic is after the Master Emeralds.
Gotta cruise, dudes. We gotta find that Chaos Emerald before that dopey Defender Knuckles gets us.
Oh, sorry. Apparently it's just one of the 7 Chaos Emeralds that Knuckles has sworn to protect. Maybe he got demoted. Naturally, Knuckles gets the jump on the hedgehogs.
Huh? Oh. Nice to meet you, too. I hate thieves.
Sonic, are you alright?
Boy, that guy's good.
He is? All he did was helicopter his arms while Sonic fell on his ass. By this point in the game, Knuckles had punched Super Sonic square in the face. While Sonic and Knuckles scrap, the siblings are dropped into a floor trap, sending them directly into a watery cave. Hydro City Zone be looking kinda bland here. Nope, don't like that. Don't like that one bit. Why does he have bow ties? Call the police. Sonic and Knuckles continue to brawl, which culminates in such a spectacular, jaw-dropping example of masterful fight choreography, it would make Gareth Evans blush.
What? What? Whoa! Ah! Why'd you save me?
Sonic and become huge! Manic and Sonia are able to tame Knuckles' weird mutant Yoshi, and they quickly deduce that Sleet and Dingo are nearby.
Is that it? It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's definitely the Master Emeralds. It seems to me like the writers either mixed up the names, or they purposefully renamed it because Chaos Emerald sounds cooler. So Sleet and Dingo almost make a clean escape with the emeralds. Only for this to happen.
It's Sonia again. Ow! Uh-oh.
You know, maybe if Dingo wore 2 metal boots instead of just the one, he wouldn't be at risk of stubbing his toe. It wasn't the simping that screwed him over there so much as his bizarre character design.
People don't always say what they mean, and things are not always what they seem.
This sounds like Smash Mouth. This feels like a knockoff of Walking on the Sun by Smash Mouth, a song that was released 2 years before this episode aired. You can't get away with that, Sonic Underground. Also, I'd like everyone who refers to Crush 40 as butt rock to listen to all of Sonic Underground's music and apologize. In the end, the emerald is saved. We also learn that all of this could have been avoided if the kids simply name-dropped their mum, since Knuckles is friends with her. But you know, couldn't have missed out on all of this. So where are they now? The band never did find their mother, and the fate of their world was left in a state of ambiguity. A real Schrodinger's hedgehog situation. Ian Flynn, head writer of the Archie Sonic comics, did consider writing an epilogue for Underground, but later revealed that Underground's narrative was strictly off limits for him, most likely for copyright reasons. The most Archie was able to do with Sonic Underground was have them appear in a one-off crossover. In the very same issue that featured a crossover with Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So, probably not canon. Also, this Tiger LCD game, I guess. And that's kind of it for them. I was going to do a behind the music bit here, but I didn't have anything to work with. Despite being a pretty naff show at the end of the day, the fact that Underground ended abruptly and without any conclusion at all still stings for some reason. Well, on that sour note, I'm going to be heading back to the 80s for my next episode. So make sure to head to Twitter and cast your votes. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.
You might as well be walking on the sun.
If you want to help me make rent this month, feel free to pelt coins at me while I dance for your amusements. Alternatively, you can donate to my Patreon. Huge thanks go to my £3.57 patrons: Dan Brown, Pokepal, Shameboy, and Thomas Walker. See ya!